To end the stream on my thoughts, I think that that person is in general wrong about where creepypastas ended. I think, the significance of the Slenderman stabbings happening in 2014 and then the peak coming around then and then it suddenly declining might have had something to do with it, maybe, but those stabbings all were just concerned with Slenderman. And it was only one really big stabbing and then a small plethora of other crimes committed by small children. And it was definitely a good reason for parents to keep their children the fuck off the internet, which they should have been doing in the first place. But I think that the actual decline of creepypastas themselves actually came about when people started taking authorship and ownership of the properties. I think it's just a coincidence that the creepypastas declined around 2015 and 16. Again, that was around the time that people started attaching their names to the creepypastas that they were writing in hopes that they would make a big payday. And then it was around 2017, like 16, 17, and 18, that they started putting serious streaming services like Netflix started putting more money into buying up creepypastas. I think for me, that is what ultimately ended up ending the creepypastas as they were, because the aspect of creepypastas that was so creepy and cool was the community aspect. It was the fact that you could make this story, then other people could take your story or your photo and create a whole history behind it. And then we as a community, people from all over the world, were making this story together. And the other important aspect of creepypastas was that it was believable because nobody knew where they were coming from. So many people were talking about it and adding new information to it. It was an evolving story. You didn't know what was real or not. And it really hit millennials, especially because 2009 is the big year for it. We're all getting out of high school then. It was definitely a millennial-based phenomenon. And millennials got older. They got older. They realized a lot of their favorite creepypastas were bullshit. Like I said, in 2015 and 16, my girlfriend at the time seriously believed that the Russian sleep experiment was a real story. And that made her love it. To the point that when I tried to tell her that it wasn't real, she got pissed off because she liked the idea of this being an actual thing that happened because it made it scarier for her. It made it more entertaining, right? So now you have people coming out and claiming authorship over these stories. So we know that they're not real. The community aspect is completely gone because now people can't take the story and turn it into something else. You don't have other people helping you make this story. The internet got much, much more. I mean, before 2015 and 16, but around 2012 to 13 is when the internet started getting much more moderated. And now it's much more difficult for people to share these stories on the internet without other people noticing, oh, hey, you took the story from this person, this, that, and the other thing. So you have a combination of the community aspect goes away. The moderation comes in really heavy and stops a lot of this stuff from happening. I mean, think if moderation was around in the early 2000s, we probably wouldn't have gotten the Jeff the Killer photo. We wouldn't have gotten it because this douchebag boyfriend wouldn't have been able to share his girlfriend's diet diary, which probably would have been a good thing for her. I feel very sorry for that girl. But the reality is him doing that like an asshole, one, was where we got the photo, but two, wouldn't be happening nowadays. He would be getting reported for harassment online, and in some countries like England, he would be going to prison for what he did, for certain. Now, they have serious laws now in a lot of countries about doing that kind of shit to people, which is a good thing. That is definitely something that needed moderation. It's a good thing. You can't revenge porn your fucking boyfriend or girlfriend or some shit, right? But in any case, moderation came in, which put a huge damper on the creative aspects of this particular phenomenon. The community aspect went away. And three people started taking ownership of the stories, which combines with number four, a lot of the mystery was gone. Back in 2009, not a lot of people knew how to use the internet to search for where these photos came from, where these stories came from. Nowadays, you have all kinds of hackers and kids, whole communities of people who are dedicated just to finding where this stuff come from. And, there was also a huge change in culture, the way that American culture thinks of conspiracy theories. I bitch about this on every conspiracy theory episode I do. Nobody has fun with the conspiracy theories anymore. Everybody's like super uptight about it and super upset about it, and even takes conspiracy theories and tries to link them. My mustache is going all crazy. Tries to link them to unsavory groups of people like QAnon or this, that, or the other thing. Get linked with almost every conspiracy theory that exists nowadays, right? So the enjoyment aspect of conspiracy theories went away. And now when I get online to look up conspiracy theories, articles on them, every journalist is just writing an article on this conspiracy theory debunked. And they don't just debunk it, they tell you what an asshole you are for believing in it too, you see. So that cultural aspect of letting the mystery be there and just playing along with the mystery, little burp, that was a huge aspect of what made creepypastas fun. And that all went away in 2015 and 16 when Donald Trump kind of jumped on the scene. That's when, for some reason, that's when things got dialed up to 11 in America, and cultural attitudes about conspiracy theory shifted, about having misinformation on the internet. Nowadays, if somebody posted a smile dog story on the internet, you would have a whole bunch of internet sleuths who would be running to find out where the photo came from, and they would find it and they would debunk it as quickly as possible. And you would get a lot of people who would be upset about the misinformation aspect of it. They'd be pissed off that you started a fake story on the internet and tried to lie about it, whereas back in the day, people were more inclined to just enjoy the story instead of trying to look for the debunking angle to try to prove you wrong, or go out and try to be the person that found the original photo, like, ha, proved you wrong, dickhead, and try to get internet famous off of that. So all those 5 things to me are what really killed creepypastas altogether. It was authors taking authorship, which immediately made it so we know this didn't happen, right? There's no mystique to it anymore. We know you're just writing a story to scare us versus this being internet lore. The community aspect completely went away, which I think happened with moderation coming in heavily. The internet sleuthing dialed up to 11, and now everybody's an internet sleuth who can figure out where this shit comes from, and it doesn't take them any time, and they enjoy doing it. And 5, cultural attitudes about just letting things being mysteries and enjoying the mystery of it went away in this country too. And I think those 5 things all happened at the same time in around 2015 and 16, which is where creepypastas start declining very heavily. They go back up, notice he said, in 2020, which is really funny because what was going on in 2020? The pandemic. And what was happening during the pandemic? Everybody was caught lying. It doesn't matter who, we talked about this in the Mark Manson video yesterday. There was nobody who was right during COVID. Okay. Republicans were wrong. Liberals were wrong. Experts were wrong. Conspiracy theorists were wrong. The media was wrong. Doctors were wrong. Everybody was wrong. The government was wrong. State governments were wrong. Even the people who were right about a certain thing, right? Okay. Somebody who might have been right about one fact of COVID was completely wrong about some other aspect of COVID, right? Even if you, like, nowadays, most people tend to seem to agree. Even The Atlantic just recently, I think, did a whole article on how it was a conspiracy. The lab leak theory is true and is basically what happened. It was a lab leak. And that's what The Atlantic is now saying that. Well, even if for the record, in 2020, The Atlantic was coming out and calling you a douchebag conspiracy theorist if you believed in that. They were calling you a QAnon MAGA asshole if you believed in that, right? But even if you were the kind of person who believed in that and you were found to be proven correct on that, there's 5 other things that people were arguing about during COVID that you were probably wrong on. You're on the wrong side of it, right? So nobody ended up being correct during COVID, which meant people were that conspiracy theory, the acceptance of conspiracy theories became prominent again in 2020, which also conveniently is when creepypastas went back up in popularity. That, and of course, everybody was stuck in their fucking houses during COVID. So people had a lot more time to to look at creepypastas. They didn't have time to go out and hang out with their friends and go shopping and do all that other shit because everybody was stuck in their homes. So people just stayed in their houses, got on the internet, free entertainment, and found creepypastas. And that was a lot of enjoyable free entertainment, was to just sit online and read scary stories instead of going to the movie theater or whatever, you know? So that's my take on how creepypastas went away. Cultural attitudes changed, communities on the internet changed, authorship became a big part because people wanted to make money off their stories, which I understand as a writer, but that also kills the mystique of it. And all of that together is what, in my opinion, killed creepypastas. But in any case, creepypastas aren't entirely dead. They're still there. People still do write them, and the originals will always be there. And to those of us who are alive when they came about and we were there for that creation and we remember it, they'll always hold a special place in our hearts, right? Like EDM music, those old school warehouse raves back in 2008 will always hold a special place in my heart, right, Cutie Pie? You were there in Hawaii when those raves were happening. That was a beautiful time to be alive. That will never, ever be replicated ever again. It was one moment in history that was amazing, and it'll always be fondly remembered. And those creepypastas will always be out there on the internet for you to read. I'll link every single one of them in the description of the video. So definitely go check them out if you're interested in reading any of the OG conspiracy theory videos, conspiracy theories, any of the OG creepypastas. Make sure you check out the YouTube video, check out the description, check out the links, and enjoy yourself and have some fun.